Rich, and it is time for our Week 2 NFL preview show. Did Week 1 and we went through all the games. Now we have some games under our belt. We've seen some action. A lot of times what happened in Week 1 doesn't have a lot of bearing as to what happens throughout the season, but at least we have something to go on and as we head into our Week 2 of the NFL schedule. Throughout the season, there's a ton of bye weeks and things like that. And, Week 1 and 2, these are before the bye week starts. So everybody in action, of course, this week should be another good week of NFL action. And, of course, I appreciate everyone that has a chance to join us live. Of course, if you can't join us live, those of you watching us on replay, more than welcome, of course. If you haven't done so already, you're going to want to subscribe to our YouTube channel and to join our Facebook group. Good morning to everyone. Good day to everyone. And, of course, whenever you're watching this, because this is content that should stay relevant for at least a few days. It is going good. Hello to everyone who's joining us for our NFL Week 2 preview show. Like I said, we have some action under our belts now. We can kind of have a better idea as to how things are looking. But hello to everyone that's joining us. Shouldn't be a surprise at all. We do NFL preview on Wednesday. We do college football preview part 1 on Thursday. College football preview part 2 on Friday. I said it, 100 times. So it shouldn't be a surprise, but I'm glad you're here to join us. Hello to everyone that's joining us. We're going to go through every NFL football game on the slate. We're going to give out picks on these, but I'm not saying that these picks aren't subject to change because we all know they are. But hello to everyone that's joining us. And those of you that are joining us live, those of you that are watching the replay, by all means, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and be sure to join our Facebook group. We've been talking about games all week long. I already played golf this morning, and I'm ready for the show. Yeah, this is just one of my golf shirts. I got a lot of different ones. I play just about every day, so got to have the variety. This is these guys. So golf. I always have fun with this stuff. Hello to everyone that's joining us, getting ready to go through some NFL action. Let's get right into it. We got the Panthers taking on the Buccaneers. Thursday night action. Both these teams opened with losses. Both these teams opened with games where they did not cover the spread. Of course, the Panthers losing to the Rams in what was a really, really hard-fought physical game, at least through most of it. Really, a couple of key mistakes by the Panthers were their undoing. The Tampa Bay Bucks, they kind of just fell apart against the 49ers. They had, I thought they were playing it really, really well. And the game was close all the way. At 4:47 in the fourth quarter, the game was tied. It was 20-14. The Bucks scored to make it 20-17. And the 49ers scored a field goal, and then they scored an interception for a touchdown, and got a 2-point conversion on them to make it that 31-17 final. I thought the game was a lot closer than that. The Panthers game was definitely a lot closer too. I think what we have here is a pretty physical game. We already have a bunch of injuries mounting for both of these teams. Tampa Bay's list a mile long. Pierre Paul is out indefinitely. Beckwith out for the season. Gabbert doubtful. It's probably a good thing. Meanwhile, we look over at the Panthers, and this is a team that hits so hard. I always think that they injure themselves. I don't love this game at this point. It's something that we'll probably have to come back to, but I like the under in the Panthers-Bucks game. That's going to be my initial pick. It's at 49.5. So Panthers-Bucks. My first impression here, I'm sure once we do the live show on Sunday, someone's going to ask about this game, and I'm going to be forced to make a pick one way or the other. But for right now, I like the under. It's 49.5. We move into our next game, and it's going to be the Arizona Cardinals up against the Baltimore Ravens. man, the Ravens scored points in bunches against the Dolphins, but what I thought was equally as impressive as their offense putting up the numbers was their defense. The Ravens defense just looked rock solid, and I expect them to be rock solid in this one against the Cardinals, making their first road appearance of the season. Of course, that means Kyler Murray's first road game as well. But, I just think that it's a tall order, but it is a lot of points in this one. I think what we saw from the Ravens, though, is they're going to play it close to the vest. They seem to really pound that ground game. Mark Ingram really fits in nicely with them, and I expect to see. I expect to see. The Ravens dominate this game. I'm gonna lay the points. Not something that I love in this one, but. It's just a lean at this point. We'll take the Ravens laying almost 2 touchdowns. Move on to our next game, and that's going to be the Cowboys against the Redskins. The Redskins getting 5.5. The line on this one has dropped considerably down to 5.5 from 7. After the Cowboys looked really impressive in Week 1, and the Redskins, well, they got us our backdoor cover, and that's really all we cared about in that one. The thing about this Redskins team, Case Keenum, I was less than impressed with him, even though he did get us that touchdown at the end and did get us that backdoor cover in a game that the Redskins were winning most of the way against an Eagles team that I think is not going to be much to beat this season. I expect this one to be a hard-fought game. Right now, I'm leaning towards the over at 46.5 in the Cowboys-Redskins game. It's also a lean to the Cowboys. We'll look more into this as the week goes on, and of course on Sunday's show, we'll talk about it even more. If you're watching us in our Facebook group, you'll want to move over to our YouTube channel where you can add in on the comments on over on YouTube. Looking to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark. We are almost there, so be sure to join in. You don't need to ask about specific games in this one because we're going to go over the entire schedule, and of course we're going to recap it at the end. But if you want to say hello, if you have other questions, that's fantastic too. We got the Tennessee Titans up against the Colts. The Colts, really not as bad as people thought, but the Titans, they were one of my strongest picks in Week 1, and I think we continue to ride the Titans here. Getting only 3 points is all we have to lay at the Titans. A lot of people are looking at some of these other games saying, wow, that line looks really weird. This is the one to me that looks really, really inviting. I mean, basically they're saying the game is a pick-em, and the home team is laying 3 points. I'll lay 3 points with the Tennessee Titans. I thought that they were one of the more impressive teams in Week 1. We go to Pittsburgh, where the Steelers are taking on the Seahawks. Of course, the Steelers had no answers for the New England Patriots, and the Seahawks, they just find a way. They just find a way. They grind away, and they keep pecking away, and that's exactly what we saw in their matchup against the Bengals in Week 1. No, they didn't. It's good to see all of you guys. It's one thing to not look overly impressive, but in the NFL, it's all about getting the wins, and that's all the Seahawks do. They're not always going to look pretty doing it. They don't run that, flashy, dashy, crisp type of offense that you see like maybe out of New England where just everything's precision perfect, or the flashiness you see from some of these other teams that can really get the ball downfield. But what you see is this grind it out, and they let the other team know that they're there. And I think that's what Seattle does in this one. We're getting 4 points with the Seahawks. Tough not to take better than a field goal here with the Seahawks. I'm going to take the Seahawks. We're getting 4 points. I like that one. At least at this point, one of my plays that I really like. Our next game, we have the Cincinnati Bengals up against the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers, after winning on the road in Week 1, are once again a road team Week 2 against the Bengals. And these are two teams that I didn't have a lot of high hopes for in Week 1. But I have to say, of these two, I was a little more impressed with the San Francisco 49ers. It looks a little bit like a sucker bet. The line has inverted. The Bengals were plus 1.5. Now they're minus 2. And, it's tough for me to have very much faith in the Bengals, even though they were able to, even though even though even even though the Bengals played well or well enough, they made some plays against the Seahawks. I'm not buying into it. I think that the 49ers are the play here. I don't love the 49ers, that's for sure. Both these teams, injury list a mile long, but I'm going to lean to the 49ers. This is one that might change, to be honest with you. I don't know what that means. You could always tune into our show. Oh, at work. Oh, boy. Tell your boss to join in. Cook some popcorn. It's on me. Head to our next game. We got the Detroit Lions up against the San Diego Chargers. I don't understand this line. It's plus 2.5. We've had inverse line movement in this game. I understand it's a home opener for the Lions, who looked pretty impressive at home last season, opening up in a night game. I'll tell you, this time they open up in a day game at home. I gotta take the other side in this one. The Chargers are just the better team. I think in the tough stadiums, defense usually prevails, and I think I think the defense has enough for the Chargers to get through. We'll take the Chargers here on the light line. It looks a little bit like a sucker line. We'll look more into it as the week goes on. But those of you that are joining us a little late, we're doing the NFL preview show. Got plenty of people here in our live audience. 63 people watching us live. It's not nearly as much to join us at 11 a.m. Eastern time each and every day when we do our live show. Of course, the daily live shows at 11 a.m. always are going to be about the games that day. And then these preview shows that we do Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday during football season, these are just going to be previewing the week's action later on in the weekend. Just kind of a first look, because we do have lines, even though the games aren't for a few days. I know a lot of people already talking about these games, and that's why I decided to do it. Also, I wanted to go directly against the Picks and Parlays radio show, which I think is very, very bad. And I just think that we could easily, my old and crappy self can put out a better product than their production, which I don't even want to tell you what they're spending on that thing. But anyways, we'll just keep rolling right along with it. And we go to Green Bay, where Aaron Rodgers and the boys take on the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings seriously physical last week against the Falcons, while the Packers seriously tough physically, defensively against the Bears. I don't like the Vikings offense here. I do like the way that Dalvin Cook played. And, we know what happens, that once the Packers offense finds a crack, they start jumping into the crowd gets into it, and then all of a sudden the refs are on their side too. So I'm a little wary about taking the Vikes in this spot. I'd probably take the Packers with Aaron Rodgers minus the 3. It's a lean at best. The under might also be another play at under 44. Probably look more into this one. I don't know if those picks will hold. It's weird when I do like my Sunday show, at least last week, I didn't go back and look at the picks that I made on this show. So they could easily be different at that point. As things change throughout the week, news happens, word happens, and all that kind of stuff. We go to the next game. The Houston Texans laying 9 points against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Both these teams losers in week one. The Texans coming off of a short week, taking on a Jacksonville team that I thought played really well against this, to me, that pretty much says all. But I'm old and crappy, and no one would watch me if I was on their radio show. That's what Craig Trapp says, and all he does is apologize for me. I'm not sorry. I'll tell you, I'm not, for anything I say that I don't say I'm sorry about, I'm not sorry. That's for damn sure. I might say things that make people feel uncomfortable, but it's always the truth. One thing we could say is that the Texans kind of played well enough to win. The problem that we have here is that, so here's all the angles in this Texans-Jaguars game, because looking at it on the surface, you say the Texans are the much better team, right? The Jaguars, Foles is out. They have, Minshew, who's now going to be able to practice with the first team offense. Okay, so that's one for the Jags. The other thing we have for the Jags here, inverse line movement, only 35% of the bets being made on the Jaguars, yet the line has dropped a half a point. And then, divisional game. And we also have a short week coming off of a road game for the Texans. I'm going to take the Jags here plus the 9 points. I think there's too many angles here to leave them off the table. So we'll take the Jags and we'll take the 9 points. Of course, we do free picks every day at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, we don't have our website up, and we don't have any premium picks or anything like that yet, but we will in the near future. So be sure to stay in touch with us in our Facebook group, as well as by subscribing to our YouTube channel. Every Wednesday, we're going to go over every single NFL game. Every Thursday, we're going to do the early college football games. What we're going to do is I don't know what we're going to consider early and late every single week. We're going to take the schedule, basically divide it down the middle by time. So this week, it's about those 7 o'clock games. It seems that most of the games are late this week. So tomorrow's show, we'll do all the games probably before 6 or 7 o'clock, and then Eastern time. Then we'll do all the games after. Of course, I live in Hawaii, so even though it's 4 o'clock Eastern time there, it is 10:19 in the morning my time when we're doing this show. So hopefully you guys are having a great afternoon, great morning, great evening, wherever you are. It doesn't matter. Everyone is always welcome when I'm doing the show. And of course, in our Facebook group as well. Our new website's going to be called Pick Dogs, and I guarantee and promise it's going to be the biggest and best things yet. Of course, I have built Sports Chat Plays, I built Picks and Parlays, and this will be bigger and better than both of those, probably both of them combined. I'm seriously excited about it. I agree with you, David Stanton. I think week 2 is an overreaction week. And that's why we're seeing some of these lines. You got to remember that the Jags against the Chiefs, they hung in there almost the whole game. The score was kind of dressed up at the end, but even then, the Jags still had a chance to cover at the end of that game. So speaking about overreaction, let's head to Miami where the Dolphins take on the Patriots. The Patriots couldn't look any better. The Dolphins couldn't look any worse. So the Patriots probably looked the best of any team in week 1. The Dolphins probably looked the worst of any team in week 1. But once again, we have an overreaction. We have a divisional game, and also we have some serious heat at 1 o'clock in the afternoon in Miami. We have a spot where the Patriots haven't been able to do much over the years. The total in this one is set at 47.5. I think the Dolphins offense is probably going to be a little bit better this week. They can't be any worse than they were last week. I'm going to go with over 47.5 in the Patriots Dolphins game. The thing I want to say about this one is I really want to take the Dolphins, and personally, I'm going to bet on the Dolphins in this game. I probably will even put something on the money line on them in this game as well. I just think so many people on the Patriots here. So many. All I'm hearing is Patriots, 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 Patriots. It's never that easy. It's never, ever, ever that easy betting the NFL, and it never, ever will be. Meanwhile, the Buffalo Bills head to Giants Stadium for the second week in a row. This week they take on the Giants. Last week they played the Jets. So they're in the same visitors' locker room that they were in last week, and in their second consecutive road game. It was kind to the Bills last week where they got the win outright against the Jets as a dog. Meanwhile, the Giants returned home after playing the Cowboys fairly tough, but not as tough as I thought they were going to be. I thought the Giants would play them much tougher and get the cover in that game. They did not get the cover. Here they are in week 2 against a Bills team that we're not really sure exactly what we're going to get with them, but we know when their quarterback was healthy. Thank you so much. I love all you guys for joining us and supporting us, and I can't wait till our website is off the ground so we can just start taking names and doing what we do. Never take the half-assed, lazy approach. Never any excuses. We are who we are. We won't apologize for it. And I'm just glad that everyone appreciates and respects that. Not everybody actually does, but I know a lot of people that do. So I love that you guys let me be myself on these shows, that you don't expect me to just say, oh, Tom Brady's the best. It's just pathetic is what that is. And who in the hell wants to watch that crap? I guess 14 people watch it over at the other channel on the other website that I own. But back to this one with the Giants and the Bills. I like the Bills in this one. I think that, what we've seen the last 2 years is when the quarterback's healthy on Buffalo, they are a tough team, and Allen's a good quarterback. I think he's underrated. He's a cowboy. He is a tough guy as far as quarterbacks go. I'm going to take the Bills here. I'm going to lay the 2 points. I hate the Giants, so I got no problem taking the Bills, at least on this show. Our next game, we got the Raiders getting 7.5 points against Kansas City Chiefs in what is a rivalry game. The Raiders played extremely well on Monday night. Can't take that away from them, but what they have now is a short week in a rivalry game against a Chiefs team now playing back-to-back road games as well. Cross-country road games, opening in Jacksonville, going clear across the country now and playing the Raiders in this rivalry game in the Black Hole. The thing about this one is that the Chiefs played in Jacksonville in week 1. They looked tough, man. They looked really, really good. I had Jacksonville in that game, and I'll tell you, I regretted it. I regretted it early and often. I thought Minshew played well. We went on in halftime. We talked about it, and doesn't matter. I think the Chiefs are a force to be reckoned with, and definitely a contender to go to the Super Bowl from the AFC after week 1. I would lay the 7.5. I know the hook is always an ugly thing in the NFL, but I have no problem laying the hook in this one, taking the Chiefs minus 7.5 points. I know a lot of people will say, should I buy the half a point? If you're going to need to buy a half a point, I always say just take the other side. Why not? If you feel the need to buy points, why give away your payout when winning in sports betting has everything to do with money management as much as picking winners? Money management is just as important, if not more important, than picking winners in sports betting. It absolutely is. We got the Rams hosting the Saints in this one. I just got off the phone with my lawyer and about some things that might be going on with the other websites and my business partners. But what my lawyer told me was, I'm going to give you some free advice here, and that's going to be to take the Rams in this game against the Saints. What he said, it's a short week and a cross-country road trip, and everybody in the world thinks that the Saints are going to be out for revenge in this game. He's like, the Rams looked pretty good in week 1. I have to agree with him. The Rams did look pretty good in week 1. Normally teams the week after they play Carolina, they're a little beaten up, but I'll tell you, the Rams looked like the physical team, especially it was their offense that was taking it to that Carolina defense, which is a very rare thing. I like the way the Rams are going with the two-headed monster at running back. I think it's a more physical running game even than it was last year with C.J. Anderson. I think the Rams are extremely tough. I hate Jared Goff, but I'll tell you what, the Saints probably in some trouble once again in this revenge matchup. And the Rams are probably, as much as the Saints are trying to say they got lucky to beat us to make it to the Super Bowl last year on a bad call, the Rams are probably equally as much saying, let's show everybody how lucky we got. And they're probably on a mission in this one. I'm going to take the Rams minus the 2.5. I know that's going to be a super unpopular pick with the public, but I don't care. Our next game, we got the Chicago Bears going to Denver to take on the Broncos. The Broncos look absolutely hideous. Yeah, if you have picks, the place to put those is in our Facebook group. I make that crystal clear. And that is the place to put them. If you want to put your own picks on my live show, well, then you're going to be asked not to come back, is the way that that's going to work. I mean, we like everyone to join our live show, but if you have picks to give, the place to do that is in our Facebook group. But what we're going to we have the Rams are the Chicago Bears up against the Broncos. The Bears losers at home, while the Broncos lost in the Black Hole in Oakland. I'll tell you what's one of the toughest places to play in the NFL. It's always been Mile High Stadium. I know they renamed it and changed all this other stuff and called it something at Mile High or whatever the case may be. But I like the Broncos to come back at home. I like the Broncos plus the 2.5 points. Mitch Trubisky looks terrible. The Bears in general, the defense looks good, but the offense pretty miserable. We got the Eagles taking on the Falcons. This is the Sunday night football game. Pretty good matchup. Of course, the Falcons got absolutely starched last week by the Vikings. And, that's one of those things. Are the Falcons as bad as they look? Meanwhile, the Philadelphia Eagles, I still think they're one of the more overrated teams in football. They're laying 1.5 on the road in a night game in Atlanta's home opener. That's how overrated that they are. Love the Falcons in this game. I think they absolutely steamroll the Eagles. I was not impressed by the Eagles, and I expect the Falcons to roll in this one. And we'll take them here at plus 1.5. In our Monday night game, we got the New York Jets. Thank you very much. In our Monday night game, we got the New York Jets taking on the Cleveland Browns. The Browns look absolutely hideous against the Titans. We had the Titans every which way possible. Money line, points, everything. Halftime. We love the Titans last week. And the Jets at home now against the Browns. Of course, a new kicker in town for the Jets, as well as Demaryius Thomas as the Jets. Injuries already settling in. I like the Jets in this game. I'm not even going to go too much into it. We got a home dog on Monday night against the Cleveland Browns team that we're going to continue to fade as long as we possibly can. Once again, the public all over the Cleveland Browns. No reason to be all over the Cleveland Browns. They've done absolutely nothing. I'm watching on my other screen the Picks and Parlays radio show. There's how many people are watching it right now. 11 people are watching. There's my old business partner. But 11 people are watching the Picks and Parlays radio show as we're doing this one. And there's how many people we got watching ours. So not as many as we have in the mornings, but still pretty good turnout here. And I appreciate it. But we've gone through the entire schedule of games. If anyone has any questions or anything they want to talk about, we did some totals. We did mostly point spreads here. And, of course, these are all subject to change. That's funny. Yep. I'm old and crappy. That is what I am. Just ask the 13 people that are watching Picks and Parlays radio show. Of course, I'm one of them. I have it up on my screen. We have 47 watching us directly on YouTube. The rest of them are watching us on Facebook. It's a combination number. Here's mine on the YouTube right there. Let's see, 47. There's 14, including me. But anyways, any more Rams and Saints over? I think that we do see an over in the Rams-Saints game. I think this is going to be sort of like that Rams-Chiefs game last year. I think we're going to see a ton of points. I do like the over in the Rams-Saints. Good call on that one, Don Snow. Thank you. Thanks for bringing that one to our attention. The number in that Rams-Saints game is 52.5. It opened at 54, down to 52.5. Anything else anyone wants to talk about? Antonio Brown? I don't know if he's guilty of these new he doesn't care. Craig doesn't believe the numbers. He sees the numbers, but he doesn't believe them. He sent me this email with some kind of chart or something. It didn't make any sense because these are the numbers, right? We could see how many people are watching the shows, right? There's 13 people watching his show, right? And there's Chelsea. And there's 54 people watching our show, right? You can see it on YouTube, 56, right? You can see it, okay? Tough to deny it. I can't even tell you. Our show cost absolutely zero. And I don't even want to tell you what they're paying for all of that stuff over there. We did this game already. We've covered all the games. Let's see. But we can go over them again if you guys want to. I got some time. I got to run out to the store. Tomorrow's my wife's birthday. Got to get her a birthday card. Yeah, this is not in the correct format. You got to say who versus who. Yeah, it's like, I don't know if this charge holds up or anything like that on Antonio Brown, but I do say that trouble seems to find a way to find this guy. And it's like, he may or may not be guilty on this one, but let's just say it never seems to go away with this guy. And it's not like a guy wearing a watch, a $100,000 watch on the field. This is like real stuff. So, we'll see how it all plays out. it was kind of like how the Tyler Skaggs things happened in Major League Baseball. We kind of all knew, right, that something had gone seriously wrong here, and they never really said anything, and they acted like it was this big tragedy. But it turned out to be a drug overdose, and I don't think anyone was really surprised. And I think with Antonio Brown, when something eventually really does surface that is true and is real, no one's going to be really surprised. We went over this Steelers-Seahawks game. I just think it's too many points. I think the Seahawks have either win the game or stay within the number. We went over it, though. We're going to go over it more on Sunday. I think the Bears' offense is terrible. I think Mitch Trubisky is awful. I did never like the draft choice, and I think that it's not getting any better. He's not getting any better. So the Bears' offense is just absolutely terrible. I think there's zero chance of him returning this season. I think maybe in a year, like Jason Witten did, that's a possibility. I don't think he returns this year. The producer of the show found her. He interviewed a bunch of different people. Chelsea came with experience in newscasting, not in sports betting, and I thought that she would be a good person as a co-host on the show. Not to host the show. She does the best she can. Yeah, you should be telling this to Craig. Is who you should be telling this stuff to. You should tell this to Craig too, and this too. Tell all those things to Craig. Yeah, I got to get the birthday card for my wife. If you ever find a woman that when you tell her, yeah, I want to quit my day job and bet on sports all day, and she says, I know you can do it, marry her. It ends up being a great life. I just peeked over. I saw Craig Trapp on the screen. I was like, what the fuck? Oops. Anyways. I don't know what this is. Chicago versus Denver, over under 40.5. I think it goes under. I think you have two defenses, but we'll look more into this one on Sunday, but I think it's a lean to the under. Bears Broncos under 40.5. Yeah, if you have a pick service or whatever, then I'm sorry, you're just not welcome on our shows. It's just nothing personal. It's all business. We did this one. We'll go over it again. Yeah, we did all these games. Yeah, we'll have new Pick Dog swag in the very near future. Yeah, the Skins Cowboys game. Here's the thing: is that we know that the Skins aren't nearly as bad as people thought they were going to be, but they're not good either. This is a rivalry game, and I expect the Skins to play really, really hard against the Cowboys. The Cowboys, Dak Prescott not getting the contract yet, it only motivates him to play harder, and I expect him to play really hard. And Ezekiel Elliott. Even after the money, this guy is trying to show that he's worth the money, and I think the Cowboys, are just a really good team. They were my pick from the NFC for the Super Bowl. After Week 1, they did nothing to show me that they shouldn't be my pick for the Super Bowl. I think it's a lot of points. When we originally went over the game on the show, I took the over. Chiefs versus Raiders over. We did that one, I think. No, we didn't. I don't know what the number is. You got to put it up like this. We did this one. It's set up by the Raiders. This is like pre-Raiders, the story. Well, anyways, I appreciate everyone who has joined us. We're going to recap everything that we've gone over on today's show. Of course, we're live at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time each and every day. Of course, our best bets are given out on the show every day. We don't have our website up yet, but we will in the very near future. Spoke to my lawyer this morning. We are green lighted to do whatever the hell we damn well please. Like we weren't going to do it anyway, right? So we kind of they sort of thought it was okay. So I was like, all right, that means it's okay. And now they're like, it's 100% okay. I spoke to a lot of different partners out there too that want to work with us. So I'm really excited about that. We did this game. We did this. And I'm going to go over it. It's here. See? We went over every game. You could rewatch the show if you want to hear the detail. Panthers, Bucks. We took over 49.5 is what we took in that game. I don't know who to take. I think the Panthers are probably the play, but we'll go over it again tomorrow on the show and go into more detail. It'll give me more chance to research it as well. Took the Ravens minus 13. I think it's a hell of a lot of points, but we're going to go over. We're going to take it anyway. We took the over 46.5 in the Skins Cowboys game. I don't love that one. We took the Titans minus 3. I really, early in the week, or early for right now, that's one of my top plays. The Seahawks plus 4, I kind of like that one a lot, at least for now. 49ers plus 2 against the Bengals. Chargers minus 2 on the road. I kind of like that one a lot too. These are the ones that I'm going to look more into. Packers minus 3 and under 44 against the Vikings. We took the Jags plus 9. I just think there's a lot of angles in this game. The Texans on the short week, the Jags, losing their quarterback and now have the quarterback that's been able to sit with them work out with the first unit for the entire week. So just a lot of angles in this one with this Jags-Texans game. Plus the world saw the Texans last week and they're going to say, oh, they got beat at the last second. They're really going to be motivated this week. Trust me on one thing. NFL teams, they're motivated every single week. Took the over 47.5 in the Dolphins-Patriots game. I don't love that 19-point line, I'll tell you that much. I figured that the line would be in this area, but that doesn't mean I think that the Patriots are going to cover it. What it means is that it's going to take a number that big to get any action on the Dolphins. And generally and traditionally, even when the Dolphins were winless, the year that the Bears went to the Super Bowl, you have to remember that the Dolphins went into Chicago that year and whitewashed the Bears by 40 points. I think they'd won 2 games the whole season. They ended up picking Ronnie Brown in the NFL draft. Or it might have been the year they took Jake Long. But the Dolphins had one of the worst seasons ever, and they beat the team that went to the Super Bowl for the NFC straight up on the road. And, things happen in the NFL. There's a reason they play the games. Laying 19 points, it just isn't in my vocabulary. The Bills minus 2. We took the Chiefs minus 7.5. The Rams minus 2.5. I kind of really like this one. My lawyer gave me this pick, and he said cross-country road trip for the Saints coming off of a short week. Also, the revenge factor for the Saints overrated in this spot. Rams also out to prove that it wasn't luck that they won the NFC Championship game. I'll tell you what, there's a reason this guy makes $850 an hour. Smart guy. Took the Broncos plus 2.5. Falcons plus 1.5. Jets plus 2.5. The over in the Rams-Saints game, which I really like. I'm going to asterisk that one as well. And the Bears-Broncos under. This is Mitch. Thanks for joining me. This was our NFL preview for Week 2. Of course, we're going to do NFL picks on Sunday. We're going to do the Thursday night game tomorrow on the show at 11 a.m. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And be sure to join our Facebook group. And we'll have the webpage up live soon enough. And I'm hoping that all you guys join it, like it, and tell us how we can make it better. Of course, I built 2 of the largest sports handicapping websites ever, Sports Chat Place and Picks and Parlays. And I'm saying that Pick Dogs is not going to happen day one, but at some point it will be the biggest of them all. Have a great day, everyone. I will see you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. and, of course, at 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow for our college football preview part 1.